What's up, Tweener heads? Welcome to the first ever end of the year Tweener Head Awards. Now, we are doing a couple categories today. And yes, I am wearing a button-down shirt. I'm not wearing a casual tennis shirt like I usually do, but we had to dress it up a little bit. We had to show that we can get dressed up. And yes, this shirt does have tennis players on it. It does. Like, it's crazy. Like, today we're going to be going through some categories. We are going through every category is going to have a men's and women's section of it. So we're going to have... But before I say these categories, I just want to point out, these are all my opinion. This is not what others may agree with. But if you have a different opinion or you want to nominate someone else or let me know who else deserves the award, leave a comment down below and let me know who you think deserves each award. But if you do like this video, make sure you leave a big like and make sure you're subscribed to Tweener Head Tennis. Now, to get into the categories, we have Best Match of the Year for men's and women's. We have MVP. We have Comeback Player of the Year, Breakout Player of the Year, and we have the Tweener Head of the Year. Now, the Tweener Head one might surprise you, but it's the best tweener that I think that was hit throughout the entire year. So stay tuned to the end to find out who wins that award. With the women's category for Best Match of the Year, and that one goes to the US Open Women's Final between Naomi Osaka and Victoria Azarenka. I felt like that tournament just had such an interesting storyline because it was a rematch of the Western Southern Open final that happened earlier that week at the US Open because they had to share the venue for those two events. But it was a rematch between Azarenka and Osaka, and Azarenka took the Western Southern Open title because Osaka withdrew from that match, even though it was a final. But you saw the level of each player go up and down throughout the entire match. Azarenka taking the first set, and then Osaka bringing her game to the level that we expected her to be, and winning the next two sets to bring home her third Grand Slam title, her second US Open title for that matter. So it was really cool to see that level and to see both players play at such different levels at different times of a match. There was no consistent basis that each player had. One started high, one started low, and then it just flipped. So that was my 2020 match of the year for the women's category. For the men's category, I think I have to go with, yes, the US Open final between Zverev and Dominic Thiem. This is where Dominic Thiem won his first ever Grand Slam, and no, it was not at the French. I was very surprised by that, but it was really cool to see Dominic Thiem finally push through and win a Grand Slam title, whether that was on clay or on hard court. But I'm very glad that he was able to break through. And I live streamed my reaction throughout the entire match. And honestly, it was probably one of the most exciting live streams I think I've done on YouTube. In my YouTube career, I should say. Because, let's be real here, that match lasted over 3 hours, 4 hours for that matter. And there were so many ups and downs through that match, and I just remember watching that match and seeing the quality just go up and down and left and right and forward, backwards, however way you want to put it. But it was one of those matches that I did not forget about throughout the entire year. Whether it was earlier at the ATP Cup where we saw Shapo play Demon Hour, and that was one of the matches that I thought about nominating for this category. But overall, it definitely had to be the Zverev versus Thiem one, and I think that sums up that category pretty well, to be honest. Going on with the theme of Azarenka good performances, I named her my Comeback Player of the Year just because how well she was able to pull herself together at the end of the year and just was able to put a string of matches together that well. Earlier this year, I believe she was struggling to find her form, and even during the pandemic she was struggling to find that confidence that she really needed to get her back to that Grand Slam winning form that we saw her at the Australian Open years ago, to see her winning those titles and to see her winning big trophies. It's nice to see her back in the place that she deserves to be. So for my Comeback Player of the Year, we have Victoria Azarenka taking the title. Now for the men, it has to be Vasek Pospisil. It has to be. From the major surgery that he had to playing and beating top players at Grand Slams this year, unbelievable. ATP named him the Comeback Player of the Year. I'm going to name him Comeback Player of the Year. There really isn't much that you can debate about that because he was a guy that was riddled with injuries and was still able to play at a level that people didn't expect him to play at. So, for my comeback player of the year on the men's side is Vasek Pospisil. Next category, we have the most improved player of the year. Now, this one was a little tough on the men's side because you have so many names when it comes to picking the young guys that are on tour, between Sinner, Musetti, Alcaraz, Tommy Paul, Casper Ruud, one of the biggest silenced names that people are not giving enough credit to. The year this person has had, they've won multiple challenger titles, and they've done it at such a young age that he's being compared to Richard Gasquet that had the best run as a 17-year-old, Rafael Nadal, Novak Djokovic. Even at his age, he's beating records that the big three never accomplished, really. So for those reasons, the winner of the most improved player of 2020 goes to Carlos Alcaraz from Spain. Now, coached by Juan Carlos Ferrero, he is definitely the one to look out for behind Sinner, Musetti, Ruud, all these guys, because in my opinion, and Brandon Nakashima. How can I forget Brandon? He's definitely one of the biggest ones to look out for, and just in terms of most improved, has to be. So for the women's side, the most improved player won their first Grand Slam this year. I interviewed her last year. She's one of the most hardworking players and dedicated players to the game, and one of the most humble, for that matter, besides Naomi Osaka, in my opinion. The most improved female player of 2020 goes to Iga Swiatek. She is well deserving of this award because she is now being compared to a lot of people in terms of who's going to be her biggest rival. Is it going to be Kenin? Is it going to be Anisimova? Is it going to be... Who knows at this point? Because we all knew she was capable of winning a Grand Slam. She won Junior Grand Slam. She won Wimbledon. So it's destined for her to win more, right? She was reaching new levels of her game so quickly and so well at the French Open that she definitely deserves this trophy winner title for Tweener Head Awards 2020. Now, the final two categories. We have MVP of the season, most valuable player, and Tweener Head of the year. For the MVP, I decided not to go with one of the big three. They didn't even win a Grand Slam, but they are one of the best players on tour on the men's side. Being top 10 in the world, winning 5 titles on the ATP Tour, and having one of the best win records this year, tying actually for first with Novak Djokovic. Our MVP for the 2020 season is Andrei Rublev. Yes, I know there's some criticism that can be said of, oh, he didn't win a major. Oh, what else did he do? He didn't win any big titles. Well, hold that thought. You tell me that a guy that's won over 40 matches this year and has won 5 titles, ATP level, not challenger, ATP level, is not deserving of this. And finishing in the top 10. Like, besides the big three, who else has done that recently? Maybe Medvedev last year, but Medvedev didn't win as many titles as Rublev and didn't have the same win percentage as Rublev did this year. And I think it was a little bit of luck from the Tweener Head community because we were a practice partner, we got to hit with them, so you never really know. You never really know. So that's our MVP on the men's side. For the women's side, this was tough. This was tough because there's definitely a lot of players in the top 10 that I feel like could win this award, Osaka being one of them, Halep maybe, Swiatek could have been one as well, winning her first Grand Slam. I am giving it to the American Sofia Kenin. She is our 2020 Tweener Head MVP recipient of this year because winning the Australian Open, she made the semifinals of the US Open. She has definitely declared herself as the future of American women's tennis, being an American to win a Grand Slam that's not Serena or Venus Williams. And her game is so well suited to playing baseliners, and I think the women's game is developing into more of an up and down, baseline to net, rather than side to side on the court. But I think Kenin definitely has the game to win multiple Grand Slams, and that's why she's definitely deserving of this Tweener Head 2020 MVP award. Now, the moment of truth. Can I get a drum roll, please? The Tweener Head of the year goes to Roberto Batista Agut. Did I ever think I would pick this man to win the best tweener of the year? Nope. No chance. There was no way I was gonna pick him. But then after seeing what he did at the Bet One tournament and being a winner as well, I know Tennis Sandgren had one at the New York Open as well, but in terms of just the way the point was played and being down and out in the point, the only option being a tweener, has to go. And just because of copyrights, here's the screenshots of his tweener. I can't show the actual tweener, unfortunately, because of because of copyright infringement and things along that nature. But congratulations. The most coveted award at this year's ceremonies, the Tweener Head Award, goes to Roberto Batista Agut. Congratulations, my friend. You have won the best award of 2020. There's a positive for 2020. Thank you guys so much for watching this year's 2020 Tweener Head Awards. This was the first time I'm doing it, so I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Make sure you leave a like on this video, as well as making sure you subscribe to Tweener Head Tennis. And I hope to see you guys next time for our next video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks, guys.